Hi, I'm Jericho for Truth in Bible Prophecy. The Antichrist is here and Sunday Law is coming. What does the Bible reveal about the mark of the beast and the image of the beast? How will one-word religion be enforced? Will you stand victorious against the mark of the beast? Kindly support this ministry by subscribing and sharing this urgent message to all. Stay tuned as I present to you Sunday Law enforced. They will force you to worship. Revelation 13 verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. In a previous video called Antichrist Unmasked, we identified the sea beast of Revelation 13 verse 1 to 10 as the Roman Catholic papacy. Next, we also have a video called The Dragon, the Papacy in USA. And we discovered that the land beast of Revelation 13 verse 11 represents the United States of America. What is the image of the beast that the land beast, America, will make in honor of the sea beast, the papacy? The two lamb-like horns symbolize the fact that the land beast kingdom and its founding documents recognize the simultaneous legitimate existence of two separate kingdoms within one nation, church and state. These two separate kingdoms lie at the foundation of the two principles of civil and religious liberty. What is the image of the Antichrist beast? The image is made by the two-horned beast of Revelation 13 verse 11. And to know how it is formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. What was the central characteristic of the Roman Catholic papacy during its heyday? In order for the United States to form an image of the beast, the religious power, the church, must so control the civil government, must have the power of the secular sword, that the authority of the state will also be employed by the church to accomplish her own ends. Revelation 13 verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Solid proof from history that the papacy ruled from 538 AD to 1798. General Berthier marched to Rome, entered it unopposed on February 10, 1798, and proclaiming a Roman Republic, demanded of the Pope the renunciation of his temporal authority. Upon his refusal, Pope Pius VI was taken prisoner. As we have seen, the papacy during the 1,260 years united the church with the state and then used the punitive sword of the state to punish those who dissented from her doctrines and practices. Apostate Protestantism in the United States, the land beast will make a replica of this. Especially the spiritual leaders will work upon the secular power to safeguard their institutions and to punish those who dissent. In this way, they will make an image of the mother from whom they were born. By making an image of the first beast, the United States will disown and contradict its own founding principles and make an image or replica of what the papacy did during the Dark Ages for 1,260 years. As a result, much of the history of what the papacy did to John Huss and the Sanhedrin did to Jesus will be repeated in the end time. Revelation 13 verse 11, then I saw another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. Let us now see the voice of the dragon. The dragon is the central protagonist of Revelation 12 and 13. As we have seen, it primarily represents Satan, Revelation 12, 7 to 9. But it also represents the Roman Empire, Daniel 7 verse 23. The fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on earth. Thus the beast that rises from the earth, yet speaks like a dragon, must be a spokesman not only for Satan, but also for Rome. When imperial Rome, represented by the dragon, disintegrated, we are told that it gave its throne, its power, and its great authority to the beast. Revelation 13 verse 2. That is to say, the papacy continued to exercise the powers of the dragon, Satan, and Rome for 1,260 years. But then it received the deadly wound. After convalescing for a period of time with the deadly wound, the wound will be healed by the land beast, who will speak like a dragon. That the land beast will not only be a spokesman for Satan, but also for Rome. And so the dragon, the sea beast, and the land beast are all agents of Satan who operates through Rome. Revelation 13 verse 4. So they worship the dragon, who gave authority to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who is able to make war with him. This is the reason why Revelation 13 verse 4 affirms that the world will not only worship the beast, but it will also worship the dragon, from whom the beast received its power and great authority. Let us now look and see how the United States speaks. How does the United States speak? The answer is that it speaks through the representative that the people have elected. The duly elected representatives of the Congress of the United States are the voice of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is significant that Revelation 13:11 is the only time in Bible prophecy where we are explicitly told what kind of horns a beast had on its head: lamb-like horns. Another unique element of this land beast is that in the prophecy of Daniel 7, each successive beast fought against, defeated, and replaced the previous one. Instead of warring against the sea beast that immediately preceded it and taking its place, it actually will help the sea beast recover its lost power, and then will honor it by building an image of and to it. Everything this second beast does is linked with the first beast. It compels the world to worship the first beast, to make an image of it, and to receive its mark. The land beast will exercise all the authority of the first beast. Revelation 13 verse 14. In the same way that the first beast exercised all the authority of the dragon beast. What is the meaning of two horns like a lamb? As we have already seen, the two horns like a lamb represent the two kingdoms that Jesus the Lamb recognized while he was on earth. John 18 verse 36 says, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here. In John 18 verse 36, Jesus assured Pilate that his kingdom is not of this world. Matthew 22 verse 21, render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Much is being said today in evangelical circles about the need for Americans to be patriotic and Christian. It is assumed that in order to be both, the United States government must support religion through things like inscription on our currency, the expression "one nation under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance, government vouchers for sending children to religious schools, government-mandated school prayers, federal funds for charitable choice, religious displays on public property, and the like. But as we have already seen, to separate the affairs of the church and the state is Christian, because it is what Christ taught. And it is also patriotic because it is in harmony with the founding documents of the nation. To join church and state would thus be anti-Christian, contrary to what Christ taught, and unpatriotic, contrary to what the founding fathers of America taught. Let's talk about the First Amendment. Let's review the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, clause number 1, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, clause number 2, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, clause number 3. The first two clauses of the First Amendment are known as the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. The third clause guarantees full civil rights. What happens when either of the two clauses of the First Amendment is violated? Let's turn to Daniel 3 and Daniel 6 to find the answer to our question. The events described in these two chapters are real-life examples of what happens when the first two clauses of the First Amendment are violated. The result is that citizens lose their legitimate civil rights and suffer persecution and ultimately risk losing the greatest civil right of all, life itself. When either of the first two clauses is violated, the third clause will also fall by the wayside. The Establishment Clause in Daniel chapter 3. The three young men who refused to worship the image are shown elsewhere in the book to be respectful of the king's legitimate civil commands. But when the king crossed the line between civil law and religious duty, the young men drew a line in the sand. When the civil power overstepped its legitimate bounds, the three young men choose to obey God rather than men, and as a result, they were condemned to the fiery furnace. The three young men had no human court of appeal, and it looked like the king had all the cards. In fact, the king defiantly raised his hands to heaven and roared like a dragon. And what God will be able to deliver you from my hand? Jesus answered that question when he personally and spectacularly intervened to deliver his faithful servants from the devouring flames. The Free Exercise Clause in Daniel 6. God has placed Darius to rule in civil affairs, but he overstepped his bounds and gave a religious decree forbidding the free exercise of religion. Darius was not establishing a religious observance. He was not commanding everyone to pray to a certain God or in a certain manner. He was simply forbidding the free exercise right of the people to pray to the God of their choice for a period of 30 days. In Daniel chapter 6, we catch a glimpse of what happens when the free exercise clause of the First Amendment is violated. When the king crossed the line between civil and religious matters, Daniel drew a line in the sand and commended his case to God. On this occasion, all the power once again seemed to be in the hands of the enemies of Daniel. The law of the Medes and Persians could not be changed or revoked, so it appeared that Daniel was doomed to destruction. But as in the case of Daniel's three friends, God was the final court of appeal, and he intervened in spectacular fashion to deliver his servants. So it will be with God's faithful remnant people at end time. The First Amendment in the end time. The prophecy of Revelation 13:11-18 clearly indicates that the United States will eventually violate both the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clauses of the First Amendment. It will not necessarily get rid of them, but rather will preserve them in theory but deny them in practice. The land beast will not only compel all to obey the authority of the papacy by keeping Sunday, thus establishing religion, but it will also forbid the observance of the Sabbath, thus forbidding the free exercise. Protestants' fascination with the papacy. Many Protestants today are fascinated with the papacy. Prominent political leaders such as Jeb Bush, Newt Gingrich, and Tony Blair have renounced their Protestant heritage and have converted to the Roman Catholic Church. Many Protestants point to the papacy's fight for human rights, for religious freedom, for the poor, for life, for morality, for conventional marriage. They believe that the papacy has changed and therefore that there is nothing to fear. Yet the papacy has not repudiated any of its dogmas, nor has it laid aside its aspiration to global political power. Protestants will throw their whole influence and strength on the side of the papacy by a national act, an act of Congress. Enforcing the false Sabbath, they will give life and vigor to the corrupt faith of Rome, reviving her tyranny and oppression of conscience. Then it will be time for God to work in mighty power for the vindication of the truth. When this happens, the United States will form a mirror reflection image of the papacy in its honor. How can such a thing happen when the global power of the United States seems to be waning, while the power of such nations, China and Russia, seems to be increasing? Though we still don't have all the answers to this question, several things are clear in Bible prophecy. The issue that will galvanize the world into one body will be global survival. See Matthew 24, 6-8. And you will hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. For nations will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdoms. And there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginnings of sorrow. No doubt a Sunday law will be enacted in the context of a global economic meltdown, a series of unprecedented natural disasters, perhaps due to climate change, an alarming increase in crime, unparalleled terrorist attacks, and spectacular manifestations from the spirit world. Instructing and encouraging the global political leaders to do away with what they perceive to be the cause of the problems facing the global community. Then the story of Elijah will be repeated, and God's remnant people will be called troublers of the people. The argument that was used against Jesus 2,000 years ago will be invoked once again. It is better for these dissenters to die than for the United States to perish. The Antichrist is here, and the mark of the beast is coming. Sunday law will surely be enforced very soon. How can we stand victorious against Satan's deception in the final days? Number 1, trust the Word of God only. Psalm 9 verse 10, and those who know your name will put their trust in you, for you, Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Number 2, set your eyes on Jesus only. Hebrews 12 verse 2, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. Number 3, do not be conformed to this world. Romans 12 verse 2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Surrender to Jesus, behold His loving character, and join God's army in the final days, the 144,000. Click on the card to watch my other video, the 144,000, how to overcome the mark of the beast. Kindly type in the comment section, my only safety is in Jesus Christ. Kindly support this ministry by subscribing or sharing this video to all. You can also send a donation or monthly support via Patreon. Make your final decision today to stand with Jesus Christ and Bible truth. May we all continue to seek truth in Bible prophecy.